It is impossible to talk about fund management without talking about internal controls. And when you're talking about internal controls, you are referring to the policies, processes, and procedures established by the management to achieve one, the integrity of financial records, to ensure there is compliance with the rules and the regulation established in an industry, to ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of operations, and to safeguard the asset and the interest of an organization. When you are establishing internal controls, there are five factors that you must consider and have them in your mind. One is the control environment. When you are talking about control environment, we are talking about the prevalent culture in an organization. What are the attitudes that the management have? Are they setting the right tone? Are they, for example, compliant to the internal controls, or are they overriding them? Do they encourage the internal controls compliance? For example, are they encouraging training? Do they punish those people who are engaging in fraudulent activities, or are they rewarded? Is there zero tolerance? Those are some of the factors that establish the environment, and they are critical. Because if the fraudulent culture is prevalent, even if you establish the most effective internal controls, they will not be complied with. Second factor you must consider is the risk. What are you trying to prevent? What exactly are you trying to prevent from happening, or what are you trying to encourage people to do? For example, if you are trying to protect your business from theft, then it is maybe for you employ guards. Okay. Second is trust. This one is highly related to the risk you have established. Once you establish the risk, that is when you determine what are the best control suited to exact risk, because each risk has the best control which can be managed by that risk. For the third one is there must be a communication. How do you communicate the risk has occurred? What are the time frame do you have to take to ensure that there is an effective response to the risk? For example, if there's a fire outbreak in an organization, if you don't hit that alarm to alert individuals that there is a fire outbreak, then the casualties may be more, and maybe even there will be no time to respond to the risk. But if you identify the fire and hit the alarm button, then there might be a quick response. Maybe the fire brigade will respond and maybe put off the fire even before it spread. But if you don't communicate, then you as an individual identifying the fire will be of no. Monitoring of control is the last one. Monitoring of control simply means is to keep examining the effectiveness and efficiency of the internal control. Is it working as expected, or are there changes that need to be done? Once you establish an internal control, it is not enough to just leave it at that. It is not cast in stone. It does not mean that it is operating as expected. Or you must keep examining it to ensure that it is efficient and effective. For example, if you install a CCTV camera, you must ensure that it is working, it is operational, it is set in the right angles, it is set in the right places, so that it can help you in maybe monitoring the risk that you want to prevent. But if once you just establish internal controls and you leave it at that, and you don't even ensure if it is working, then you have done a zero work, because you just establish it and you don't know if it is working. You are just working based on assumption that it is effective. Have you ever seen that? For example, there are places where CCTV were installed, and when a crime occurs, when you want to go and obtain those footage, you discover that the CCTV were not working, or maybe they have been tampered with. This occurs mostly because there was no monitoring or controls of that CCTV to ensure that it is working and it is set in the right angles. So next time you want to establish an internal control, you must consider those five factors, and they must be present in any internal controls. So I hope you have learned how to establish internal controls and how the elements involved in the establishment of internal controls. And until next time, goodbye.